Back here at the end of 2022, very special year-end movie review podcast here today that was brought up by the one, the only. Check him out on YouTube, Real Honesty with Jonn Ritland. Does great content. We've had him on for a long time now, many, many times in the past on WrestleRant Radio. John, I think this is the first podcast that we've done, and I checked it up. We talked earlier, when was the last time we spoke? I think it was August of last year. I had you on WrestleRant Radio, but this might be the first time I've had you on exclusively to talk about movies. No wrestling here today. We'll get to that at another point. But what's going on, dude? Thanks for coming on, and thanks for coming up with the idea to do this podcast. I thought it was a great idea.
Well, I mean, Graham, loving movies and wrestling are the first two loves I've had. I mean, the only two real loves I've had. And yeah, actually, now that I think about it, when you mentioned about August of last year, oh yeah, I remember that. That was right when wrestling had gone back on the road and theaters had opened back up.
Yes.
So I was diving into more stuff. But the funniest thing is just thinking about movies before we really dive into this stuff, like thinking about how, from 2017 when I was reviewing stuff on my channel as far as movies, I reviewed some and then got more into 2018 and more into 2019. But it was like, I think 40-something, 60-something. I think it was roughly close to 80-something in 2019, and then 2020 once the pandemic hit, which the last movie I watched in theaters was Bloodshot. Thank you very much, Vin Diesel. I'll just blame that movie for shutting theaters down. Then everything went to streaming. And from there, especially once theaters opened back up, like in some areas it was different. For us, I think it was around April or May of last year. The first thing I saw in theaters was A Quiet Place Part 2. And from there, I had the Lowe's/AMC pass. And then I used up my Regal passes. And now because I had the Regal monthly pass, I was like, all right, let me just go watch a bunch of stuff. And 138 movies in 2020. 78 movies. This is what I reviewed, by the way, folks. But 78 to 80 last year, because I had a lot of other stuff I was reviewing and a lot of retro movie reviews. As far as current releases, 200 this year.
Wow, yeah, that's nuts. That's a hell of a number, man.
I did not intend to beat the record from 2020. I thought, we'll just do this. But you and I were talking before we went on the air, like, how many movies streaming services started swallowing up during the pandemic, and now you get a movie that'll be in theaters, even if it's wildly successful, after 2 months maximum, it will be out on streaming. So if a movie goes directly to streaming, or if you don't see it within the first 3 weeks, if you don't want to pay $15 or whatever it is in theaters, and you just want to pay the $20 or wait for a streaming service to gobble it up, then there you go. Peacock was getting some exclusives right off the bat because NBC Universal. They got the Northman. They got the 355. They get just examples of that. They got Nope after a little bit, and then you got Paramount Plus. You got HBO Max. It's got Barbarian, and they got the Elvis movie and stuff like that. And so many of these services are like, yeah, we'll just get this, or you could be like Netflix and you could spend $200 million on The Gray Man. Why would you spend $200 million on The Gray Man? Nobody liked The Gray Man.
Yeah, that was one I thankfully did not see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just you can put great people in it. You could have a great cast. I mean, that's the one thing about some movies. Like, you could put a lot of money into it. It could have a great cast, and then it could absolutely just totally bomb. But of course, if you're going to put Ana de Armas in a movie, her or Anya Taylor-Joy, you put them in a movie, it's almost a guarantee I'm going to go watch it.
Yep.
And if people ask why would you go watch it? I want you to look at them, and I want you to come back and apologize. But no, they're actually pretty good. But you've seen a lot of. We were talking again before we went on the air. You've seen quite a few movies.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. I saw. It's funny because you mentioned this before of like the near 200 movies. Of the 200 movies you've seen, most of them were on streaming or VOD, right? And you only saw 30, 40 something in theaters. You said this year, which is still a lot.
I did when I got the last movie that I saw at an AMC or to give you a geography idea, guys. I live in Washington State. I live in eastern part of it, roughly. I'm about 75 miles from the Canadian border, and I live in a town called Marysville. We have a theater 6 miles from my house, roughly, that I used to work at and I frequent, or there's a city in Everett that has a stadium plex. But other than that, the traffic situation here, it's not conducive to me really being able to go out and watch movies that often. So even though I have the pass, I watched 35 movies out of the 200, so pretty much 70% of what I watched was on streaming because of the aforementioned they're going so fast to streaming, unless you really want to experience it in theaters, you could just wait.
Yeah.
And sometimes not even pay for them. I mean, I started off with something in theaters and then streaming and then a couple theaters and then streaming for a bit, and then there were breaks in it. I mean, there were a lot of breaks. It was like I was just gobbling up this content like crazy because I post a lot of stuff on my channel. You post a lot of stuff on your channel. And I was like, let me just have some fun here. And then as it kept going, I was like, yeah, let me just, make a best worst list. I was like, oh, well, I did a top 20 in 2020.
Yep.
Because I did 138 movies. Let me do a top 25. And the worst list was piss easy, but unfortunately I wasn't even able to slag off everything that I absolutely hated. The best movies list, I had to edit both of them a few times, but I also kept notes of like the movies that I watched from the first one that I watched of the year, Scream, all the way to the end, The Eternal Daughter, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
That's from 1 to 200, and again, we were talking before we went on the air, like, there were some of these where I was looking, I go, yeah, I gave this movie an F, and I go, I don't remember a goddamn thing about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because 200 movies, I mean, shit.
Yeah, some of them are quick, some of them are long, some of them are completely forgettable. I mean, that's bound to happen regardless. So, I mean, we'll talk about the best. We'll talk about the worst. Like I said, before we hit record here, what we'll probably do, I got a whole list of movies here, probably the biggest movies that were released, mostly theatrically. We'll get into some of the stuff after the fact, like, Turning Red, I know we mentioned earlier before we hit record. Sure. That was great. Unfortunately, did not hit theaters. It was only exclusive to Disney+, but still a very good movie, among other ones as well. Whatever ones I don't mention, we'll go chronological here. We're starting with Scream, as you mentioned. That was the first one I saw this year as well, and then we'll get into some of the stuff on the side that I did not mention that you saw that you might either recommend or recommend people don't watch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you did not like Scream.
Let's get into it. I did not like Scream. Like I said earlier, we'll probably do thumbs up, thumbs down. To give you a fair warning, I will probably give thumbs up to most of these movies because, I don't know, I'm just easily satisfied, But that being said, you would know more about this stuff than I do as far as the horror movie genre stuff. And we'll get into more of the horror movies later on. With Scream, personally, I just was not a fan. I have seen the first one. I really like the first one. Obviously, it's a classic. I haven't seen the other one, so maybe that's my own, my own issue as far as I probably should have seen the other ones. Would have liked this one more. I think I've seen 2, but yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of just several aspects of the movie. So this is honestly a rare thumbs down for me. But I know you said it wasn't the best one, but you were more favorable towards it than I was. Would you give it a thumbs up?
I would give it a thumbs up just because. And I've seen all of them.
Okay.
I own all of them. I mean, I don't own the 5th one, but I got to get it at some point on Blu-ray. But then again, trying to find stuff on Blu-ray for a good price is astronomically hard.
Yeah.
I would give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed the 5th Scream, but people say it was better than the 3rd one. Well, yeah, but I mean, I've shat things out that were better than the 3rd one. And the 4th one, while great, had Hayden Panettiere, boy howdy, was uneven, but more of a return to form. I enjoyed this one, but it did fall back in on its own tropes a little bit too much. So I was favorable to it probably because I was just like, oh, thank God. They actually put a little effort into this. But we were talking about Scream 6. Scream, Ghostface Takes Manhattan is what it's probably going to end up being.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a thumbs up. Would I say it's still one of the best films of the year? No. But it was also the first one I saw that was released this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there was I mean, that was the thing too, because like you said, this was the first movie that I saw this year too. So like for someone, at least for me, like I said, because I was not, this was probably the worst movie that I saw this year as far as movies that I liked. And that's not to say it was a bad movie. I just personally did not like it, because I do want to make that distinction, just because, you know, for me personally, that I say that it's bad. You are way more knowledgeable in the film stuff than I do, so I trust your opinion more than I trust my own opinion as to whether this stuff is good or not. Wasn't my cup of tea personally, but it was one movie to kick off the year with, so it wasn't the best movie to start the year for me. I did not see this, and the only reason I'll be bringing this up was it did make some, you know, cash at the box office, and it was a bigger movie in the first few months of the year that, you know, there wasn't a lot of big blockbusters in the first few months of 2022. Did you see, John, Jackass Forever?
No, I hate the Jackass people.
So I guess that you didn't see it, but I would assume that you would give it a thumbs down, though. I haven't seen it myself.
I've seen clips. Look, I remember I'd seen the first three against my will because I had an at-the-time friend that wanted to watch it. I saw some clips, and just to me, with the fact these guys are either basically practically on life support because of the shit they've done to themselves, or they suffer from CTE, I just don't see how in 2022 they would do something like that. So I would give it a thumbs down, but also I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
If you, to quote another podcaster that's not about movies, for the kind of for the people who like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like.
Yeah,
but
that's a good way of putting it.
No, it wouldn't be for me.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it myself. I think I've definitely seen the first Jackass movie from a long time ago. I didn't see this one. I knew a few people that saw it and thought it was decent enough. And like I said, there weren't a lot of movies coming out in the first few months of the year, at least theatrically. So I saw Scream, didn't see anything else in theaters until another one I'll bring up in a moment. But didn't see this one in movies. I saw it on Amazon Prime or Netflix after the fact. I think I saw that you watched it, because we talked about it on Twitter, that being Uncharted with Tom Holland. I know based off the video game, I know we mentioned that we talked about it on Twitter as far as where we can watch it. Alexis and I had it on our list. We watched it. Thumbs up, John, or thumbs down?
I couldn't put my thumb down more on that.
Wow, you really did not like it. I like this movie.
I get it. It's actually, I think it's on Netflix, actually.
Okay, Netflix, yeah. I thought it was on Amazon. Maybe it was, and now it's on Netflix. But yes, you can stream it pretty easily now as we speak at this moment, yeah.
For people that like the games, sure. It just, for me, I felt like it was trying, I don't know. Tom Holland, I think, gets way too much hate. I think he's a good actor. Mark Wahlberg, I haven't seen him play any diverse characters since I would say at least before 2006. I mean, The Happening was pretty much the point where I gave up on him. But no, I did not like Uncharted. Now, I will say this as far as worst movies of the year, I had originally had it on my worst movies of the year, but again, to quote that podcaster, or quote Ole Anderson, so many other dumb fucks have, come along that you've, fallen further down the ladder. So there you go. No, I didn't like it. And it had a good cast. It had good productions. Good production, that is. But I don't know. It did not work for me.
For a movie that I did not pay to see in a theater, I actually did enjoy the movie. I liked it. I haven't played the game, so I can't speak to that personally. But as a movie that is, I just saw on Netflix quickly for an hour and a half. I enjoyed it well enough. I will give it a mild thumbs up. It was not one of the best movies I saw this year at all. So I could totally see why you didn't like it, though. The other movie I saw...
I can respect that, because I can get why people like it.
No, this is why I'm glad I had you on, John, because I think there's going to be, not a lot, but most movies I think we'll agree on whether we like them or not. But that difference of opinion is what I enjoy.
I'll throw one out.
Go ahead.
I'll throw one out that I hated. Moonfall.
I did not see that. I know you mentioned it earlier. When did that come out? Do you remember?
That was February, early February. This is an actual line. This is, and for those that can't figure out from the title, folks, it's about the moon going out of orbit and coming to crash into the Earth. Because Roland Emmerich, who directed Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, is a secret supervillain that wants to destroy the world. But if he isn't, and I don't know why the hell he would do this, but one line actually says, it's like, rioting and looting continues as mounting moon terror continues to grip the cities.
Mm-hmm.
Mounting moon terror continues to grip the cities. Somebody got paid to write that line, folks. No, that would get a major thumbs down from me. And it had Patrick Wilson from The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that played Ed Warren, by the way. And
Okay.
for those folks that aren't familiar with the Conjuring movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or only remember the Conjuring movie because of the 2014 Annabelle movie, which was dog shit.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I remember a lot of people saying it was dog shit, yeah.
Another quick one that was in theaters, Death on the Nile.
I remember the name. Didn't see it, definitely not, but I definitely remember the name.
That was the continuation of Murder on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good murder mystery, at least I thought. I will say this, and this will probably get me a ton of hate. Gal Gadot better hope that her looks hold up because acting is not something that she's good at.
Did you see the Wonder Woman movies or no?
I did, and she fit as Wonder Woman. She did. She looks great.
Mm-hmm.
She has that statuesque ability, that statuesque look about her. I didn't care for 84.
No, that movie sucked. I actually, the thing is, I went into the first one. I know this isn't on the list, so we won't spend much time on this, but because this came out in 2020. But I wasn't expecting much from the first one because I'm not a big. I like the superhero stuff. I'm not a big DC fan, but I did see the first one, loved it, and then I saw the second one, complete dog shit. So, and I'm not surprised they canceled the upcoming third one.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's because Zaslav, or whatever his name is bound, determined to kill off anything with Warner Brothers.
Yes, correct.
And then wonder why they're losing more money.
Yeah.
The one, you and I talked about movies that were released in theaters and then on demand also. And remember that the advertisements for that Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson movie, Marry Me?
Yes, yes. Someone recommended that to me. Didn't get a chance to watch it. Is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down from you?
It's a freaking thumbs down. Thumbs up on Death on the Nile, by the way. Thumbs down on Marry Me.
Okay.
Because it basically was every Jennifer Lopez rom-com from the early to mid-2000s.
Yeah. It looked that way.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it certainly looked that way from what I saw of it.
I mean, I watched it, and Jennifer Lopez acts as well as she sings and sings as well as she acts, and she's not very good at either or whatever. Her acting ability basically is about as good as Whitney Houston, doing her rendition of Singing in the Bathtub. Oh, this show's going well. God. What else did you have on your list after I just completely alienated the Whitney Houston fans that are here?
Well, I was going to mention we were talking about superhero DC movies. I think you said you watched it, but Batman. Robert Pattinson was Batman earlier this year. Another movie I wasn't... the trailers look good. It was supposed to come out years ago before COVID, or during COVID, right before COVID hit anyway. Got bumped.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come out early 2020 or mid-2020. Got bumped quite a while. That ended up being great. I actually really, really enjoyed that movie. And, as someone who is a fan of the Dark Knight movies and whatnot, I thought Pattinson did a good job. I know you're not the biggest superhero movie fan as far as that sort of stuff goes, but you said you liked the movie. Would you give it? Did you like it enough to give it a thumbs up, or for you?
A resounding thumbs up.
Oh, okay, great.
Resounding.
All right, great.
I mean, Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Yeah.
I mean, it speaks for itself, for sure.
But Colin Farrell was great. Colin Farrell had a great split as far as roles. He was in that. As the Penguin. He was in the Banshees of Inisherin, which is also available on HBO Max. It came out recently. He's got a lot of range. He was great in it. Paul Dano, who also had a great 2022. He was in that, and then he was in The Fabelmans. I mean, he was great as the Riddler. And, yeah, Batman, granted, it was dark, literally in some cases, dark to the point where actually it got, you actually couldn't tell what the hell was going on sometimes. But, yeah, Pattinson, as you said, was great.
Yeah, no, he was excellent. It exceeded my expectations, made a lot of money, and I would say it's a movie, too, that, I mentioned earlier, I like the superhero stuff. You don't have to be a superhero fan to watch this movie and enjoy this movie, because it's separate from all the other shit going on right now with DC and Warner Brothers. They are making more movies with Pattinson as Batman, or at least more movies in that universe, so this is well recommended. It was on HBO Max, I think, immediately or soon after. Maybe a month or two later, so people should go check that out. I did not see this one. I know you did. It was, I think, one of the biggest and maybe even one of the best movies of the year. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Talk to me a little bit about that, dude, because I did not see it. I want you to recommend it if you thought it was good, though.
I mean, that gets 2 thumbs up into the goddamn sky as far as I'm concerned. The guys that did, I don't remember the name of the movie that the other guys did. They're called Daniels because I think one has the first name of Daniels, one has the last name of Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
They did the one with Daniel Radcliffe as a dead body.
Yeah, I think I saw
island.
that. You know, I think I caught most of that movie. I remember it. Don't remember the name though. It was weird.
Either for the life of me. No, see, what I liked is what it was from the directors of that. And when I saw the trailer, I just, in full disclosure, guys, if something on here says if there is a movie by A24, then it's almost a lock that I'm going to watch it. A24 basically is an indie-style horror, or indie-style owned studio.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to Swiss Army Man. That was the name of it. I'm calling in on my house phone, so I have access to my cell phone. But Swiss Army Man, that's what it was. But anyway, Everything Everywhere All at Once, basically, it was from those guys. It has Michelle Yeoh, or Yao, or however you say her name. I can never remember.
Yeah.
Who I've loved since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's incredible. She's vibrant. She has a great look. She's very good at acting. And the guy that plays her husband in it was the guy that's Dr. Jones in Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Whose name totally is escaping me right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in it, and it has Jamie Lee Curtis. It has the girl that plays her daughter was great in it. It's basically, you have to do your taxes, and you're running into issues and stuff like that, and it sounds so simple, and then there's this multiverse thing going on with a bunch of weirdness and strange visuals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to spoil it beyond saying that the movie's a mindfuck, but it's also really simple, and it's also just great.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun. It was on the short list of favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
By far. And that was early on. That was late March.
Yeah, that came out in early 2022. Yeah, one of the first few months, one of the first major movies of the year, and it got rave reviews. I unfortunately missed that one. I think. Do you know if it's on any streaming service that you can watch right now, or do you have to rent it?
Jeez, is it on? I'm trying to remember if it's on. I'm going to keep the IMDb app open. I think it's on. I think it's on Showtime.
Okay.
But let me see, because Showtime. It is on Showtime. You can only. Yeah, it's only on Showtime.
Okay.
At least right now. Showtime has a deal. Showtime has a deal with A24.
Okay.
Showtime has a deal with A24, and so does Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw another movie called Causeway that had Jennifer Lawrence in it.
Yes.
Selma'd out of her skull, apparently, but it actually makes sense for the story. But no, Everything Everywhere All at Once is done by A24. You're going to hear a lot of A24 love on this particular call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Podcast, whatever word I'm trying to come up with here. But no, when you said Everything Everywhere All at Once, I wanted to go back for a couple things that I saw in theaters. One was called The Cursed.
Okay.
It was about werewolves, and it was set in the 1800s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really good. It didn't make a dent at the box office. One that got released in theaters and then got immediately shoved out on the Peacock was the 355, that all-female spy one.
Mm-hmm.
That had Jessica Chastain, Penelope Cruz, Diane Kruger, and whoever the fuck the other one was. It was Bing Lee,
Okay.
I think. But basically, doing all-female spy stuff, that would get a thumbs down, by the way. That would get a major thumbs down, because perhaps the plan was to release, that's on Prime Video if you want to endure it, folks. But perhaps the plan was to release it on, early in the year so people would forget about it. But I did not forget about it because I write down everything that I watch, and it was shit.
Yeah.
I'll throw a few quick ones to recommend for streaming, or to watch on streaming. Kimi, Kimi, had Zoe Kravitz in it, taking place during the pandemic.
Okay.
One I would not recommend is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix movie.
Oh, that sounds awful. Usually those remakes are typically not good.
It was also one of the ones that did the Halloween thing. Don't worry, folks. Halloween Ends will be talked about.
Oh, we'll talk about that later on, for sure.
Yeah, but my point is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out nearly 50 years after the other one and ignored all the other ones. It retconned everything.
Yeah.
80 minutes, and I had to get through the review by doing a musical intro of My Sweet Lord by George Harrison and butchering it. The Banquet's really good. The Feast is really good. Those are UK ones. The Privilege was fine. Hellbender is one I want to give a shout to.
Mm-hmm.
Of two parents and their daughter making movies, and they've made some other movies. But they put ingenuity and thought into it, and they have the means to do good indie movies, and they put thought into it. That was great. Turning Red was, in my opinion, a great way to show how young women go into womanhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pearl Clutchers got all upset.
Yeah, with the whole movie, really. Yeah, they touch upon a lot of sensitive topics.
It was great, though.
It was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, that was a Disney Plus exclusive. Yeah.
And yet, Strange World got put in the theaters and bombed badly.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice.
It wasn't great. One that I got to shout, though. The Adam Project actually wasn't too bad either. That was the Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I heard about that. Didn't get a chance to see it. I'll probably watch that at some point.
It was one that I really loved that is on my favorites list. And by the way, after you listen to this, you can go check out my channel, guys, and see my 25 best and 25 worst movies. And yes, that's how many I did, was X.
Mm-hmm.
Throwback to the slashers, of the grindhouse slashers of the 70s and early 80s. Mia Goth was great in it with a dual role. And then they did the prequel Pearl, that I'll just say right now, Pearl was one of my favorite movies of the year. Bright, colorful, insane.
Mm-hmm.
Mia Goth deserves a goddamn Oscar for her role. She was incredible in that. There was like a 6 to 7 minute uninterrupted take. That gets a thumbs up. Deep Water gets a huge thumbs down. How dare you make Ana de Armas in a movie boring. But what other stuff do you have on your list?
Yeah, well, in addition to those, I also had, which I know you saw, which I didn't know if you did, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Saw the first one. I honestly really liked it. It gets an easy thumbs up from me because I thought the first one, based on that initial trailer that came out 3 or 4 years ago, looked like fucking dog shit, you know? And then they completely exceeded expectations. It was scary. And then that came out. I think that was one of the last movies I saw before COVID hit. But I saw this one, thoroughly enjoyed it. That was one of them, and we go from that to, I mean, you can obviously, I'll get your thoughts on these as well, but we go from that to that same weekend Morbius was out, and that was absolute dog shit. I know you watched it. Months later, people, I remember you reviewed it, people had you watch it, and you asked people, why did you put me through that? That movie, to me, as I've said before, was one of the worst movies I've seen all year. Thumbs down, but thumbs up in the sense that I thought it was so bad, it was actually worth watching because it was entertaining in that sense. So I want to get your 2 cents as well.
Oh, no. See, okay, first on Sonic 2. Okay, like, I mean, Idris Elba as Knuckles was a revelation. Because while Idris Elba comes across as a dick in some interviews, and maybe that's true to life, he also can be a hilarious guy, and he was just great as the Echidna, or Echidna, or however the hell you say it. Jim Carrey was great. I hope they can at least get him back for the third one.
Mm-hmm.
But funny thing about Sonic 2, I had got my ticket way in advance, and I was all excited. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. There'll be a few families and everything, and I hear a theater full of people. I go, what the fuck? It was during spring break, so I'm sitting around a bunch of noisy kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hate kids. Actually, I don't care for kids at all, but But kids got to enjoy it. It was great. It was a great experience with a bunch of kids that were just having fun watching it. That gets a huge thumbs up. The fucking goddamn Morbius. I mean, I knew that it was going to be bad just based on the trailer. I loathe Jared Leto. I can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because he's a creep. But I was like, this is what they reshot and tried to force feed into, or, force into the Spider-Man part of the multiverse. I'm like, this is what they went in hard for? Mm-hmm. This? I mean, why?
Yeah.
Like,
it was a massive flop.
I was baffled by it. Well, and then, the studio thought, people are saying it's Morbin time. Let's put it out in theaters, and it flopped again.
That's funny that you say that, because it's actually when I saw it. It's out on Netflix now if you want to endure the 120-minute runtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw it actually when it came out in theaters the second time for $5, thank God. And it was actually incredible how bad it was. And it was funny how they capitalized on the momentum, because I've seen people say, movies that typically do well have these great, they go viral. I mean, this movie went viral and made fucking no money at all. So,
it went viral like it went through the Kardashian household. So
exactly.
So yeah, huge thumbs down for that. I mean, I agree with you on the entertainment aspect, but
yeah, I wouldn't waste the time though. Again, if I had a choice, unless I was with other people maybe that haven't seen it. But beyond that, I'm not going to give many thumbs down here. So not many thumbs downs at all. But I will definitely give a thumbs down to that one. I know we talked a little bit before we hit record here on Black Panther and whatnot. I know you said you saw the first one a while ago. You haven't seen the second one. I'll just lump these together because I'm not sure if you saw any of them. But Marvel had 3 movies out this year. 2 of the 3, I think, were in the top 3 biggest box office of the year. Maybe 4 now that Avatar just came out, and that obviously made a lot of money. But we had the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever movie came out. They had Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, as well as Thor Love and Thunder. You didn't catch any of those, did you?
I did not. Where I dive into a lot of horror, and even though you like horror, you are much more in tune with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I didn't have a chance to watch those mainly because even though I watch 200 movies, this may be shocking to you guys, but my time is limited. Like, I lump a lot of these into, like, when I have an urge to watch these and I have free time and it just clicks. Because I only saw 34 movies, like I said, out of the 200 in theaters. I went at one point for about a month, or sometimes I would go a few weeks before I'd watch stuff in theaters because I just watch it on streaming. I know you liked all those, and I mean that doesn't surprise me given what you know about it, how invested you are, and yeah, they made a lot of money because Marvel almost is a license to print money now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
Actually,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Has been for a while.
Yeah.
It has been a license, not like it's now licensed to print money. They've been making money since freaking Iron Man 2.
Yeah, they always have. Yeah, no, I thought all 3 movies were good. If I had to give thumbs up, thumbs down, I would say Doctor Strange and Black Panther were thumbs up movies. Thor, by comparison, was not. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, but not enough for like anyone. If I was to recommend to you, John, hey, go watch one of these 3, it would probably be Black Panther. Doctor Strange was actually, Sam Raimi had a big hand in making that movie, so it has some horror movie elements to it. So even without knowing much about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you might still like it. It's on Disney Plus, but I would still recommend Black Panther, though.
I did hear that. Well, Sam Raimi,
he's an interesting one, I know.
Evil Dead. I mean, Evil Dead pretty much is just going to dominate his life, which makes sense. I mean, given how influential it was. Even if I never cared for the Evil, this is going to absolutely anger every horror fan listening. I've never cared for the Evil Dead trilogy or even the 2013 reboot. I appreciate them for what they are, but I never cared for them as much as other people did. But like around that time of Morbius, I watched The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, which I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not. I remember it came out. Didn't see it though. Was that now that you mention it, was that worth watching or no?
Big thumbs up. Big thumbs
great.
up.
Okay, cool.
That was it shouldn't have worked. The comedy shouldn't have worked at all, but it did. I was in a theater with one of my best friends, actually my longest running best friend, like 22 years, and her and I were watching, and there were about 50, 60 other people, and we were just laughing. That same weekend, we saw a movie that came out that has Sandra Oh in it, and it was called Uma, which is mother in Korean or something or whatever. I think it was mother in Korean. I don't remember. It was terrible. It gets a huge thumbs down, and that was one of the worst movies I saw because it was a bad horror movie that got shoved out into theaters. I hadn't even seen the trailer for it. And I was like, okay, sure, let me go watch it. I think we were the only 2 in there.
Well, there you go.
And I think that's out on Cinema? No. HBO? No, it's out on Netflix.
Okay.
One quick shout. The Spine of Night.
Okay.
Animated movie, Shudder. A small team of animators worked on it over a number of years, and it is really, really good. Has some heavy metal vibes as far as the cartoon heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I will say gets a huge thumbs down was one on Netflix called The Bubble.
I heard that was awful, and it may have been from you because I saw some sort of list that was like the worst movies of the year. It might have been your video. I remember someone talking about it though.
I wasn't very complimentary of it. Another one's called Unborn. There's a streaming service called Tubi. If you want to put up with some ads, you can get some free movies, or you can get all free movies. And this movie called Unborn, this is one line in it. This woman thinks that a demon is growing inside her stomach and her uterus. She won't let her girlfriend, yes, her girlfriend, clutch your pearls, people that are going to watch a demonically possessed baby movie. She won't let her feel her stomach. And the actual line that was left in the cut, and I want to just say this and we'll move on to whatever's on your list. Are you trying to tell me that you won't let me feel our baby kick because you think your uterus is haunted?
Yeah, that's just awful.
That was a line left in the movie, folks.
Like you said earlier, someone's job was to come up with that line.
Yeah, jeez. And it wasn't even said well, and I'm like, and that's the take they went with.
Yeah.
But, oof.
Yeah, that's even worse.
What else is on your list?
You didn't see Bob's Burgers movie, did you, based off the show?
I did not. I gotta be perfectly honest. I've never cared for the cartoon.
Okay.
I like it to an extent, but to me, it is not something that I got into.
Mm-hmm.
The funniest thing, actually, about the guy that voices Bob, and this is for people that remember Adult Swim back when Adult Swim produced weird cartoons, but some that were entertaining. He voiced the coach in a show called Home Movies that had the crudest drawings this side of a show called Squidbillies, which this is really a deep cut here, but I recognize his voice. I like Bob's Burgers to an extent, but I've never saw it. Now, would you recommend it?
No, yes and no in the sense. Yes and no in the sense that I didn't want to go out of my way to see it. Alexis was a big fan of the show. The people that we went to go see it with were a big fan of the show. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I'm glad I went to go see it. If you've never seen the show, I've never seen the show, but I found it entertaining enough to where it's like, yes, I wouldn't say you're wasting your time watching it. But of all the movies that we're going to be talking about and have talked about, there's other ones I would recommend above that one. So it was like a quick movie. It was an animated one. I enjoyed it. But that's pretty much all I can say on that. But it was around that same time, if not that same weekend, Top Gun Maverick came out. Probably the biggest movie of the year, one of the biggest movies of the year. Critical reviews, critically acclaimed, massively popular. Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have not seen it yet. I'm going to. It's on the top of my list. I need to watch the first one first, which is even more shocking. I haven't seen that one. I want to watch that, then this. I know they're both on Paramount Plus. Again, with all the acclaim that one got, first, did you see it, John? And two, if you did, are you among those that really liked it as well?
Okay, so first, as far as the first movie, I never cared for the first Top Gun as much.
Okay.
Now, I liked it. Highway to the Danger Zone, of course, got even more notoriety after that Archer show came out. But I like Top Gun to an extent. It is iconic as far as its deals, as far as its quotes. Val Kilmer back before he had his health issues. There's a lot of really, really good stuff about it, but no, I didn't care as much for it. I decided to go. I rewatched it, I reviewed it, and then I had already bought a ticket, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go watch it. They hyped it up. Let me go watch Top Gun Maverick. I can't believe how great it was.
Wow, okay.
A huge amount of praise for me. And again, this is from somebody that did not care for the first one.
Yeah.
There is a scene, and I won't spoil beyond, but because you're aware of Val Kilmer's health issues.
Yes.
Yeah. There's one scene. He can't talk, folks. He really can't talk because of throat cancer and other stuff. There's one emotional scene between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, and that's the only spoilers I'm going to give, that honestly was one of the most gripping things as far as, especially if you know about the first one and how it ties into that. It was great, and the way they did the jet scenes and the way they did the action stuff, this was bigger, better, bolder. It was everything I could have wanted. It was highly recommended, way higher on the list than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect to enjoy Top Gun Maverick as much as I did, but by God, it was great.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot of popular things, and you're not the only person I've heard say that they weren't like super in love with the original, but they checked it out, the sequel, because of all the buzz it got, and ended up loving it. So I have yet to hear from anyone that did not like that movie. So, what were we going to say?
I got a few others.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Let's go to your list first. Yeah.
The Northman.
Okay, yeah. So that was another one where I saw a lot of previews for it. I know it's on Peacock. Haven't seen it though. Would you recommend it?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh hell yeah. If it's from the guy that did The Witch and The Lighthouse.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of those.
If you saw those movies, I mean, if anybody, this is for anybody. I mean, you or anybody, and you're kind of 50-50 on it. This is basically giving him like $90 million to just go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It again has Anya Taylor-Joy in it. Again, put her on the marquee, put her on the screen, and I will just adore. But she was great in it. Alexander Skarsgård was in it. Ethan Hawke, more on him in a bit. Nicole Kidman was in this. A loaded cast, and it didn't do shit at the box office, unfortunately. But that same weekend, I would highly recommend The Northman. Another one I'd recommend, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage.
Was that what it was called? Like, what was that? Was that the name of the movie, or was there a different name for it?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, I thought you were just describing it. I did not hear about that. Wow.
No. They did some advertisements, but honestly, it kind of flew under the radar. Those that watched it loved it, especially if you're a Nicolas Cage fan. Mm-hmm. I'm not the biggest Nicolas Cage fan, but I'll give you an example. After Wicker Man, not the bees, all are in my eyes.
Classic meme, yeah.
He fell in hard times because of not even tax evasion, but just how much money he spent, and was doing all those dollar store productions and whatever, and was also doing some stuff where he was getting critical acclaim. Pig, when he had a truffle sniffing out pig,
mm-hmm.
a truffle pig. That was good. He did Color Out of Space that's on Shudder that was incredible and bonkers and weird because it was by H.P. Lovecraft, and as long as you were a white male that was just straight and Christian and you were fine, read up on H.P. Lovecraft, you'll understand. Not you, but somebody else.
Yeah.
But he also did Willy's Wonderland, the one where he beat the shit out of those mascots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Five Nights at Freddy's.
But
he did this, and all those small movies and all that stuff that he did, and all this watching Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, he was able to get back to now where he's paid off his debts, he's, got money, and he's able to, command $4 million a movie if he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So he's rose back to prominence. And Nicolas Cage is a very good actor. In fact, you take a look back at Raising Arizona, you take a look back at Moonstruck. He won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, so he's had quite the career arc. Yeah. I would highly recommend that. Another one I would recommend is a movie called Bubble. That's an anime film on Netflix. That was really good, along with The Worst Person in the World, which is from Neon Studios. Mm-hmm. It's A24 or Neon Studios, the ones I love. Worst Person in the World is in Norway. I think it was set in Norway. So many of these foreign movies, they all blend together. That was great. That would get a high thumbs up, but it was about relationships, and sometimes you need to leave the person you think you love to grow and be who you truly are meant to be, even if it hurts you to leave that person. And then I watched a bunch of dog shit stuff. I did watch The Outfit, which had Mark Rylance in it. It was that 50s gangster drama thing.
I didn't see that one.
It was on Peacock. I think, if it's not still on Peacock, check Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. And then one that was on Tubi called Teardrop. Mm-hmm. That was basically people on a school trip with students that looked like they were at least in their mid-20s, but I digress. It was terrible.
Yeah.
We talked about Uncharted. I'll say one more, and then we can go back to your list. Firestarter.
Okay.
Sweet. Did you watch that Firestarter?
No,
remake?
I don't think I've even heard of that.
Okay. 1984, Firestarter. Drew Barrymore was in it. Wait for it, folks, a Firestarter. She's a She could set people on fire. God, if only she set the people that made this movie on fire.
Yeah.
It was decent. It wasn't the best Stephen King adaptation, but they remade it, reimagined it. Zac Efron's playing a dad. That's just proof of how old I'm getting. Because Zac Efron qualifies to play a dad.
Yeah.
It was terrible. There was some animal violence in it that I could have done without, and it was just bad. It was just really, really bad. I hated it. I actually watched the first one, rewatched the first one, and then immediately watched the remake, and so I was as fresh up on it as I could be, and I go, sweet Christ. One more, Men. Men was really good from A24.
Was that from theaters, or was that on a streaming service?
That was in theaters, actually. It wasn't in theaters long. Did you ever see Ex Machina or Annihilation?
Heard of them, never seen them. I know what they are, but I've never seen them myself.
Alex Garland made them. He is somebody that likes to make things his own way, which I respect. And Men, it has a completely bonkers third act. I mean, incredibly bonkers. I don't understand. I both understand and don't understand what the hell was going on, but I was like, I love this. What my friend's like, what's going on? I don't have any goddamn idea. I just love it. But that was great. And then one more, Chippendale Rescue Rangers does not get a recommendation.
I remember you shitting on it on Twitter when it came out. Was that the one that like they made the Sonic joke, or was that something else?
Yes.
Okay.
They did the ugly Sonic joke in there.
Yeah.
But let's go back to your list.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I may just watch it just to see how bad that one is, because I remember when it came out on Disney Plus, and I didn't have a chance to watch it. So
it's still there. Don't worry.
I don't think it's going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I want to watch the good stuff first because I enjoy these recommendations. But another two franchise movies for you that I know you saw one of them because you mentioned it earlier. Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear spinoff that came out in mid-June. Really enjoyed it. I know we said earlier before we hit record, don't understand why it didn't take off, no pun intended, more than it did, because it just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't in theaters for very long, and it was on Disney Plus within a month, and I don't know, the people eat up the Toy Story stuff, and I love all four Toy Story movies, so I really enjoyed that. That gets an easy thumbs up from me. Did you see Jurassic World Dominion, the last Jurassic World movie, or not?
I did not. I have not really enjoyed the new trilogy.
Most people haven't.
Bad, but to me, they are making them too long for the sake of making them too long. By trying to humanize the dinosaurs more, they somehow make the human characters less likable. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does, because that was definitely the case with the second movie. I'll say this quickly, that I actually I didn't love this movie. I liked it more than I thought I would, because the last one they came out with a few years ago was fucking awful.
Fallen Kingdom, was that it? Fallen Kingdom?
I feel like that was the first remake. I don't know if that was the last one.
I don't
I don't remember. You might be right, though. If that's what it was terrible. Yeah, so this one actually I thought redeemed it because they brought back some OG characters, obviously, and I thought they did well with it. But, yeah, no, you're right, though. They make the humans very unlikable. So.
It was Fallen Kingdom, by the way.
Fallen Kingdom, okay, great.
I didn't actually know either.
Yeah, I don't. They all get jumbled up. They all kind of blend together for me as well. So.
Yeah, I didn't. Lightyear for me. Well, the reason, Grant, that people got upset about it is that Disney implied that it was that there was lesbian couples exist. I mean, come on.
I know, God forbid, Jesus Christ.
We can't have that in our fanciful world of a character based on a toy flying into space, or a mouse that has Minnie Mouse and Pluto, and also who's a dog, and also a friend who's a dog, and Donald Duck who doesn't wear pants. But lesbian couples too far, I say.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I just don't get that.
No, I don't get that at all.
What was the other one that I was thinking of? One that I hated that other people liked, Ambulance.
I didn't see that.
That was that one with Michael Bay about her. Hey, Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think the guy that played, that was in the new Candyman movie that was abysmal.
Heard that was terrible too. Yeah.
Let's steal it. Yeah, I was like, people were like, oh, it was so hard to figure out. No, it wasn't. Hey, look at the last name. Oh, no, Ambulance was terrible. It was like 2.5 hours. It was like ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a bunch of shovelware horror. Shovelware horror, by the way, guys, is just, that's my name for, it's like shovelware video games. It's just stuff that was shoved out to get a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
The was one called The Hunting where a guy literally wore a werewolf costume that looked like it was from Spirit Halloween. Don't worry, folks. More on that in a bit. Belle. Belle is one. It's Belle. Great anime movie. I think it's still on Netflix. If not, check Amazon Prime. Emotional, moving. I was friggin' in tears by the end of it.
Wow.
It had a really good emotional punch. But we go to Lightyear. Lightyear should have done better than it did in theaters.
I'm surprised it didn't. Yeah, I mean, especially with the kid demographic, family demographic, it just didn't take off. I don't know why. It wasn't like there was a massive blockbuster right around that point either. So I don't know.
No, weird. And I mean, and the one that got shoved out on streaming right after that was the Beavis and Butthead the Universe movie.
I've never seen the show. I mean, I know what the show is, but I never followed it or never seen any of the episodes.
Goddamn great, because I grew up on that shit, which might explain a lot about my humor. But no, it was great. It was fucking incredible. I
nice. Okay,
loved it.
Nice.
Another indie horror movie called Revealer. It's on Shudder. The Black Phone is one I did not expect to love.
I was going to mention that later with some of the other horror movie October movies. I didn't know that came out around then, but so you liked it. You liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Okay.
And then, the Black Phone, because I'm not the biggest Ethan Hawke fan, and I was not a fan of Sinister. And when I saw it was from the writer and the star of Sinister, I go, and then I watched it, and within the first few minutes, I go, oh, okay, this actually was good. Oh, shit, they actually got good kid actors. They got great kid actors, actually. Yep. One that I need to mention just before we go back to your list, RRR, Rise. I don't remember what the hell the rest of the words are. It's that not Bollywood but Tollywood movie. It's from India. It got a huge amount of attention, global, international. Well, global would be international.
Yeah.
Phenomenon. Sorry, can't help but do that. But anyway, it ended up taking the world by storm, and people wanted me to review it. It was on Netflix. It is 3 hours, so be careful, but put it with the original language, put the subtitles on, and just enjoy the fact that this is a maddening experience that is just great. They put so much thought and effort into it. And I know nothing about the India film industry. Nothing about it. But it was great. So let's go back to your list.
No, I know. I heard you mention. We talked a little bit about it before. I had seen on the list before we hit record. I was looking through the list of highest grossing movies of the year, and I saw that on there, and I didn't know what it was. So I'm glad you could shed some light on that, because this is why I like recommendations from you, John, because you give me recommendations for movies not only that I haven't seen, just movies I haven't even heard of. So I'll have to check that one out too.
The thing is that was my highest viewed video of the year. My second highest viewed video is 8,500 people watched it.
That's crazy.
I mean, granted, they may have only watched a few minutes of it, but still, that many views for a little channel like mine, that's something.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it goes to show how popular that movie was if people were looking up reviews for it. So, no, that's pretty cool. I know you had said you had seen... I know you said you had watched Elvis, so talk to me a little bit about that. I did see Nope as well. That was the other one I want to get your thoughts on. I liked Nope. I did like Nope. It's on Peacock now. I liked it more than... I've said this before. This is probably a bold opinion. I didn't like Us. I was not a big Us fan. I didn't see Candyman. I love Get Out. Get Out's the best one for me. This one was better than Us to me. Not as good as Get Out, but I enjoyed Nope for what it was. It asked a lot of questions and left me thinking about stuff after it was over. The acting was great. That was one of the better films of the year for me. So I want to get your thoughts, John, on Elvis and Nope. Thumbs up, thumbs down for each one.
Austin Miller, for his performance, as soon as English comes back into my life, was actually his performance gets a thumbs up. Elvis as a whole gets a thumbs down, mainly because they glossed over a lot of stuff where, yes, Elvis was taken advantage of by his manager. But also, he groomed Priscilla when she was a teenager. And I mean, granted, I didn't expect Baz Luhrmann, who did Moulin Rouge and other movies that have escaped. Well, he did the Romeo and Juliet movie with Claire Danes and DiCaprio. God, I was 15 when that came out. God. But the movie gets a thumbs down. I thought it was long, like it should have been, to tell his story, but it was convoluted and jumbled, and it just went in a bunch of different directions, but also then just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It looked good because Baz Luhrmann will put visuals in there, but Nope gets a very, very, pretty much the highest recommendation I can give a movie, which might give a little bit of a spoiler on how I really felt about it, but to me, and I get what you're saying, I have Us on Blu-ray. I thought Us was really good, but I also understand why you and why others may not have liked it as much. And that's fine. I found it pretty creepy. I thought Lupita Nyong'o, I always screw that name up, who is the main woman in it.
Yeah.
She's great. I mean, when she was in 12 Years a Slave, if you are not freaking gut-wrenched by watching her performance, then you need to check your pulse.
Mm-hmm.
But she was great in it. I like Nope from a visual standpoint was incredible. The nighttime scenes look great.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Kaluuya, who was in or Kaluuya, however the hell you say it, who was in Get Out, he was great. And Keke Palmer was great. And
loved her, yeah.
Sorry guys, a bit of a spoiler here. The parts with the chimp. Get me away from these scenes now.
It's funny you say that. I'm glad you brought that up because that was probably, it wasn't enough to ruin the movie for me by any means. I still really liked the movie. I thought it was great. I didn't like the chimp stuff, and I can kind of see after talking with other people about it why they put it in there. It was just dragged out. I don't know. It was just a little too unsettling for me personally. I mean, that might just me being I could just be being a baby by saying that, but I didn't like those scenes.
No, I was unsettled by it too. I'm just like, no, get away from me. I know you're not approaching me. Get away from me. Get away from me, chimp. No, that was the most unsettling part. No, that's why it was uncomfortable to me because I'm like, stop. Why is this? Like when it opened like that and the shoes standing up and everything, and I was just like, no.
Yeah, that whole thing was fucking weird. Yeah, because they never really explained the whole shoe thing, and I don't know. That was a little.
It did, but Peele, that's one of the only movies that I watched this year that I rewatched. I rewatched it on Peacock.
I feel like you have to. I haven't yet, and that's my bad. But I feel like you have to really understand it.
I mean, Graham, you're busy doing a bunch of stuff. It's understandable if you can't rewatch a movie that's A, over 2 hours, and B, when there's so much other stuff to do. Also the holidays. But yeah, Nope gets a huge recommendation from me.
Yeah, great stuff.
Huge recommendation.
Really enjoyed that. Another two movies I'll throw at you. One I know you saw and you absolutely fucking hated. That being Don't Worry, Darling. I think the backlash that one got, I think, speaks for itself. So I want to get your thoughts on that, as well as whether you saw Bullet Train, because that honestly, up until like yesterday, was my favorite movie of the year until I saw something else that we'll get to. So love Bullet Train, thought it was fantastic. But what about Don't Worry? Talk to me about both movies and what you thought of both if you saw Bullet Train.
I'll tell you how I felt about Bullet Train. Didn't like it.
Didn't like it. Wow, John. Okay.
I will explain why, and okay. I can understand why others liked it. Mm-hmm. I actually can totally get it. I liked elements of it. I liked some parts of it. I thought Bad Bunny in it, which it's a good thing they put subtitles for him because I can't even understand him otherwise. That's not knocking him. It's just, I mean, I can't understand his music.
Sure.
Because I'm not in the demographic of it, but the guy's a friggin' global superstar.
Yeah.
I thought there were good elements. I love Joey King, the girl who's in it. I think it went too long for me.
All right.
For me. Mm-hmm. I think if it had been a tight 90 minutes, 85, something like that, that would have been fine. Brad Pitt, I like Brad Pitt, but it didn't click to me. I probably was a little too harsh on it. I probably should rewatch it, but it's like I watched that. I watched that. I'm trying to remember what the hell else I watched. No, I just watched that day. I didn't like Bullet Train, but I get why people did. Mm-hmm. I just wish it had been a bit shorter. But again, Joey King, I'm glad she was at least in something bigger budgeted, because you saw the first Conjuring, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, The Conjuring, I'm sorry, I did not, no.
Oh, Well, okay, she was in the first Conjuring. It had a great small performance, and that was 2013. And she was born in '99, so she was 13, 14 when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to remember, because it's like I remember seeing her in other things like Wish Upon, which was shit. She was in the Slender Man movie.
Really?
Oh boy, that was certainly something that happened. Yeah, Chris, my best friend, by the way, for those that don't know. But yeah, she was good. I don't know. It just didn't click to me. Nope, fucking loved it.
Love Nope.
Bullet Train would get a thumbs down for me. Visually, it gets a thumbs up. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Nope gets a massive thumbs up, though.
Mm-hmm. And Don't Worry, Darling was an absolute train wreck?
I adore Florence Pugh.
Who doesn't?
Ana de Armas, Florence Pugh, Anya Taylor-Joy. You put any three of them, you put all three of them in a movie, and I might explode. But I digress.
Who was the other person? Pugh, Joy, and who else?
Ana de Armas.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
From Knives Out.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh, she was in, the only thing I didn't see, I did not see that Page movie. What was it? Fighting with My Family?
I'm surprised you haven't seen that.
I had meant to, and it just totally got away from me. But she was in Midsommar. Midsommar's great. She was in the Little Women remake, one of the 10,000 remakes they've done. She was great there. She's an incredible actress.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Olivia Wilde for making that movie. How dare you, Olivia Wilde? I mean, how dare you? She clashed with the writers. There was, what else? Harry Styles, who played her husband.
Of course, yeah.
He had a scene where he was dancing, if that's what you want to call it. I've seen the corpses of cats being electrified that moved better. But Jesus, I watched it. A movie where they get the chance to basically plow Florence Pugh, and you made it boring.
Yeah.
Again, how dare you, Olivia Wilde? No, this movie, it was terrible. It gets a huge downturn, or a huge thumbs down. It's in the top 10 of my worst movies, folks. Let me just say that.
What else is on your list?
Of worst movies?
Well, just in general, before we go further into the fall season.
So let's see here. Let's go back a little bit. There was The King's Daughter that was left on the shelf. It was filmed back in 2015.
Okay.
And was left on the shelf till this year. It had Pierce Brosnan, had a few other people in it, had Minnie Driver in it, and it was like one of those swords and sorcery movies. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Mm-hmm. They should have just left it on the shelf for good. The Princess also had Joey King in it. Mm-hmm. She was a badass fighting her way out of a tower. And it was terrible. The Bad Guys, I hated the Bad Guys.
You didn't like The Bad Guy. I didn't see it, but I can't say I saw it. But I can't say I'm surprised that you didn't like it, but it was just funny to hear you say you did not like it, though.
For me, it looked kind of cool, but it was one of those anime movies that had a concept of a short film stretched out into a full-length feature.
Yeah.
The one where the Foo Fighters were in it, the Studio 666.
I did not see that. Yeah.
It was a stupid little indie horror movie.
Okay.
It was fine. It was pretty good. Where the Scary Things Are was terrible. It was a terrible low-budget horror movie. One that I do want to shout, The Innocents, that's on my favorite movies list. It was Norway, another Norwegian movie. Mm-hmm. Norway apparently has just overtaken the film industry. Mm-hmm. Kids gain superpowers, and one gets really messed up in the head, and because absolute power corrupts absolutely. Just deal with a little bit of animal violence, but you'll be able to be all right. Mm. But no, The Innocents was incredible. I thought it was great. The Gray Man, I hated.
Yeah, I know you said that. I heard that did not get good reviews.
Prey, I actually thought was decent. That was a Predator prequel.
Heard that was good because a lot of the other sequels were trash. I heard, and I did see the last one that came up 4 years ago, and I fucking thought it was terrible. Yeah,
that was the one I think that one of the stars, one of the people that was in the original cast directed it. Amber Mid-Thunder, I think, is the name of the girl.
Okay.
Amber Mid-Thunder. She was good. She got hate, and I'm like, why? Because she was good? Because they had a female lead? Oh, no.
I know. People can't handle that, yeah.
But she was great. They, them gets no recommendation at all.
No, yeah, I can agree. That is one smaller indie movie I saw that was on Peacock that I watched out of curiosity, hoping it would be good, and it ended up being an absolute fucking waste of time. That was terrible.
Speaking of fucking waste of time, what Josiah saw is on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just say that I got some blowback for basically comparing this to a movie called Frailty.
Mm-hmm.
When Frailty is a low-budget movie that came out. I think it had Matthew McConaughey, Bill Paxton. It came out in 2000. But it was terrible. What Josiah saw was just, it was just really, really bad as far as how it told the story and the ending and everything. One, It was good. A24's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Even if Pete Davidson, a.k.a. the Human Lemur, was in it. He's funny and he gets too much hate, I say, as somebody that just compared him to a lemur. But it was good. Did you see The Hunger Games?
No, I actually have not.
You never did? Okay, there was a little black girl named Rue, character Rue, and I don't remember the actress's name, but she was in it, and I was like, what the hell? Why does she look familiar? I look up, holy shit. She had, like, dreads and everything because she was supposed to play a rich girl.
Yeah.
Beast. Did you see that one? Idris Elba punches out a lion?
No, I heard about it. Didn't watch it.
It was, I honestly didn't like it at that much. I thought it was all right, actually. Like, I was a little too harsh on it. But the ones that played as kids were annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it didn't have enough material. Let's catch up with the rest of this. Orphan First Kill. Boy, you want to talk about something that butchered the original Orphan. That admittedly wasn't great, but yeah, let's shove that on Amazon Plus. Let's make Julia Stiles an idiot.
Yeah.
And then another one, The Invitation. You might have seen trailers for that. It was about a woman that gets invited to go to England and to learn about her mother's ancestral home.
Interesting.
And then it turns out actually to be all vampires.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been back in 2002 with the special effects and the acting and the writing and everything, and it was shit.
Yeah.
One that got some attention, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul.
I remember you shit on that on Peacock, right?
Yeah. I watched that, and people say, I don't know who the hell said this. It was some person that commented on the review. Well, it's about this particular person, so if you don't know about them, you're not going to get it. Okay, if it's about an obscure goddamn, pastor, or even a pastor with a name, but the director and the filmmakers aren't going to make it, accessible,
yeah, then
it's not going to work.
I agree.
And it was either a mockumentary or a comedy. I know what it wasn't. It wasn't good.
Okay.
It gets that, and we'll come to, because we're almost at, Jesus Christ, we're not even at Don't Worry, Darling on my list.
You wrote
Pinocchio.
Okay, yeah.
The Disney Plus version. $150 million, Robert Zemeckis doing it, and Tom Hanks starring in it. And I was ready to kick rocks and burn stuff. I don't know why I would do that.
But I know what you're saying, yeah. Some people had liked it. I didn't see it myself. Obviously, it's a thumbs down, not worth watching, you say.
Hell no. It was terrible. Hell. Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul gets a thumbs down. Let's go to Barbarian. You haven't seen that yet. But...
No, that was actually next on my list. I'm glad you brought that up. I have not seen... Well, you know what? Let's talk these three and kind of merge them together as far as the Halloween horror movies go. You could probably guess what I'm going to include here, and there's going to be more on your own list that we'll talk about. But Barbarian, Terrifier 2, and Halloween Ends, all around late September, October. They all kind of fall into the horror movie genre, obviously, which you're super high on, John, and you know a lot about. So talk to me about those three specifically.
So I'll throw Barbarian up first. The character that played Tess, don't remember her name right now, but she was really good in it. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the new It, was in it.
Yep.
And also Justin Long, who was in Jeepers Creepers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, folks. The director of the first three Jeepers Creepers is nowhere near this movie. Look up the name Victor Salva in Clown House if you want to know why Victor Salva is a name that sticks in my craw.
Mm-hmm.
Child abuse. Yeah. Barbarian. Great. Terrific. Well shot. Excellent cinematography. The writer-director did great. I can't wait to see what he does. There was a tonal shift halfway through where I'm like, am I watching a different movie? What the hell happened? And, oh, this is great. There's one scene in particular where they do a flashback, and the way they shoot it, it's bright and colorful but creepy with an overhang and an over-relying, sense of dread. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It was great. Barbarian gets huge recommendations. Barbarian's up on my top 25 easily.
Nice.
I'll throw one other. See How They Run. That was good. Had Saoirse Ronan, who I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
Another horror movie, Pearl. I mentioned this earlier.
Yes.
Mia Goth deserves a goddamn Oscar for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Woman King, Viola Davis.
Yeah.
She was great. We already talked about Don't Worry, Darling.
It was Woman King wasn't good though, aside from Viola Davis.
No, Woman King was great actually.
Okay.
King, I'm sorry, I really should have said no. Woman King was great.
Yeah. Well, I asked because I had seen it gotten some backlash. I mean, people complain about everything nowadays. I don't know if it was justified just because the movie wasn't good, or if that was just unnecessary, nonsense.
It had to do with the Humdai, who were the woman tribe, the all-woman tribe that
Yes.
we talked about. And they were like, they didn't address the fact that they also did slave trade. It took place in Africa in the 1800s, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of alternate history, but it dealt with facts. Oh, it didn't address the fact that they traded slaves as well to survive. I'm like, yeah, it fucking did. I watched the movie. I watched it with my own eyes, you idiot. But it was great. No, it was a string. It was Barbarian. No, wait, what was it? No, it was See How They Run, Pearl, and The Woman King that I all saw within a 18-hour period.
Holy shit!
Well, when I have time on my hands.
Well, I was gonna say, what did you just sit in the theater and then just go to the next one right after that, or you go back and forth, or did you watch it at home?
I watched See How They Run, and then I went and watched Pearl the same night, right after. And then the next day I went and watched Woman King at a theater a few miles away.
Cool.
But now we'll get to one other horror movie, Smile.
Yeah, that was another one I had on my list. I did not see it yet, but I know it's out on streaming now, currently.
I think it's Paramount. I think it's on
Paramount. Yep.
It had creepy, ridiculous, and you saw the trailers for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looked stupid.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was not stupid. It was terrifying.
Yeah, no, so that was the thing, too. I think that was probably, would you say that was one of the bigger surprise movies of the year as far as how good it was? Because people were like, well, this looks fucking dumb. And I was one of those people that was not going to go see it as a result of that. But I saw, first of all, the marketing was great because you see all these people with the smile shit. And, they did a great job with getting people to talk about it. And then the movie actually delivered, too.
They were originally going to put it on Paramount Plus, and then they were like, the marketing campaign, they're like, you know what, let's try it. Because it only cost $17 million, I think, with the marketing, $20 million. They made over $100, I want to say. It was successful. But, yeah, that gets a huge recommendation. That's way up on my list. That's way up. Mm-hmm. That's like in the top 15.
Nice, okay. And then I have to watch it then soon.
Spirit Halloween was horrifying that it got made.
And that's coming from someone who loves Christopher Lloyd. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to make time for it just because he's in it. I know how bad it's going to be.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, Graham. Just don't get up and get popcorn or anything at your house. Wait for the first few minutes, and then that's it.
Okay,
he's
good to know.
90 years old. They couldn't afford him for that long.
Okay, good to know.
Well, Rachel Lee Cook was also in. I love Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of hers, yeah.
Hocus Pocus 2 was dog shit.
Hocus Pocus. Oh, you didn't like it? I haven't seen that yet either. So, I mean, I haven't seen it yet myself, but I know you said you didn't like it when you were tweeting about it.
It was like blatant product placement, the movie. And I wasn't a fan of the first one, but I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, it was a kid's movie.
Right. But I was also 12 when it came out. Right?
You didn't? Well, okay, so you didn't like it as a kid either.
I didn't hate it. It was funny. You've obviously seen NCIS.
NCIS, yeah.
That McGee was the kid in it in the beginning of the movie.
Really?
Sean Murray. Yeah. The
Really?
one that
I
did
didn't
the
know
British
that.
accent that got transformed into the cat. Yeah, that was him.
Fun fact. I didn't know that. No shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I only rewatched it recently, so that's how I knew. I'll give you another horror movie that wasn't great. The Hellraiser reboot that they did.
Trash?
Absolute trash. I will say this, though. Anybody that gets upset... Jamie Clayton, the woman, who apparently is trans. I did not know. I don't care. I got backlash because I said, she looked great. Well, she's a trans woman. Hey, if you're going to fucking be that way, get the fuck off my channel. But, no, it wasn't good. Significant Other had Micah Monroe, yes, the one that was in It Follows and various other ones, and also in Watcher. Neither of those movies are good. Let's get that. Wait, okay, you said Barbarian.
Terrifier 2. You saw Terrifier 2, right?
I did. So what was the other one?
Well, I'm saving your best for last here, John. One of your favorite movies of the year, Halloween Ends, of course.
Well, let's go with the one I actually hated more. Let's go with Terrifier 2.
Wow, you actually hated that movie, really?
Hated it.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Did you see the first one?
No, so here's okay, so quick summary. I haven't seen either of them. The second one got a lot of viral marketing, like shit, like people just talking about, I puked after the movie, blah, blah, blah. The first one, I was so curious by it that I actually didn't watch it. It's on YouTube for free. It probably still is.
It's on Tubi also if you want to go there.
Okay.
Because I think YouTube will make you deal with ads also, even for free.
No, I skimmed through it. I know of the movie. I know all the dumb shit they do. It's so over the top that people liked it. It developed a cult following. They did a second one. I thought it did well. But you said you hated it, John. Talk about that.
Well, let me just go back to the first. The main girl in it, Jenna Cannell, who I loved in Bye Bye Man. I think she's great. She's a great follow on Twitter, speaks out about a lot of really big bullshit going on. I think she's got a bright future as a scream queen in horror, and she gets it. She was fine in that. The only thing in Terrifier 1 that bothered me was when they split a girl down the middle with a saw. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I see what they mean about that. But they made it for $35,000, and it made money. I mean, God, you couldn't help but make money if you only make a movie for $35,000 in this day and age.
Yeah.
But they made this one for $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
I kept hearing about people who were like, I'm puking, I'm doing this kind of stuff. It was always so gross. It was all this. I'm watching, so I'm ready. I didn't eat before it because I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll eat and I won't like it. Maybe whatever. Let me watch it. I paid $10 to sit here and watch what was an 138-minute long slasher.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours and 18 minutes. 2 hours and 18 minutes.
That's a really long horror movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nope was a great horror movie, but it also had the sci-fi elements and everything.
It was more thriller, I would say, than horror, but yeah.
And it was made by somebody that hadn't sustained several major head injuries, unlike the director and writer and whoever the hell else was the one who made this. Yes, I hated Terrifier 2. The main girl in it was fine, but this was, we're going to make it bonkers. We're going to have these long, prolonged torture scenes. I'm going to say right now, as much as I love horror movies, gore for the sake of gore without any element of like, this character's getting torn apart or this character's getting beat up. It's just this stuff. It's like Italian zombie movies where it's just guts and everything. I'm like, no, this isn't something I care for. The torture porn thing I don't care for. Terrifier 2 sucked. I mean, I'm just going to say it sucked. I hate it. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen this year.
Wow.
I couldn't stand it. And I heard from a lot of people that I respect, and there are people that love it, and that's fine.
I saw a lot of people that liked it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a horror connoisseur, and there are things that I like that people don't, and there are things that they like that I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa, all that and all around. That's what makes movie discussions great, is when we disagree or when we agree and we can just have civil discussions and not resort to going to war over movies, folks. There are important things out there in the world. But Terrifier 2, I hated, including one scene where he's torturing a girl in a freaking room, and I don't even remember the girl's name. I think she was in a couple scenes, and yeah. The guy that played Art the Clown, the villain, actually had mime experience. That's why he was a little bit creepy, because he didn't speak. He just did his stuff. But in the first movie, it worked. because he had an element about him. But then he died in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, spoiler. But then somehow they imply that he might get resurrected by an evil force. Why? What? Who? For what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Terrifier 2 sucked.
What about Halloween Ends? I know you didn't like
Hate
it, but
Hate it.
I know you hated it, but I'm surprised you hated Terrifier 2 more than Halloween Ends.
Here's the thing. I actually hated... Halloween Ends was easily one of the most disappointing movies I've seen this year.
Because it was the finale?
I will explain. And I get why some people might have not minded it, but I was worried with Halloween Kills that it wasn't going to be great. But I'm like, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
I hated Corey, and I don't even hate the actor. That poor guy is going to get so much hate when he just played a character that was badly written, in my opinion. Here's why I really hate it. Now, I did like the beginning scene where the little shit got kicked and, got thrown off the balcony.
You thought that was funny?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the ghost of Chris Benoit possessed him. But anyway. So, God, people are going to hate me for that. But anyway, so, the romance between Laurie's daughter and Corey.
Very forced, I agree, yeah.
Forced. And I'm like, why is this dominating the movie so much? Why do they love each other? What is happening?
Yeah, yeah.
Why is Michael Myers in a sewer like he's hanging out with Pennywise or seeing Splinter overseeing the growing of the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, yeah.
What is going on? And they reduced Laurie and Michael's confrontation to like two elderly people fighting over a parking spot at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, Jamie Lee Curtis is at least in her 70s at this point.
Mm-hmm.
She has to be. And even if they had a different person play the Shape, a.k.a. Michael Myers, still, it's implied that it's a really, really old blood feud. Fun fact, the guy that was the original Shape, Nick Castle, actually directed The Last Starfighter.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either until I looked on IMDb. I'm like, you fucking what? Anyway, yeah, I hated Halloween. I ripped it apart. God, I ripped it apart.
Yeah, no, I know you did not like it, but the thing with that one is that that one, like Terrifier 2, I saw a lot of love for that movie. I actually enjoyed Halloween Ends, but for different reasons, and I can see why people didn't like it though. I'm not gonna go off on anyone that didn't like it because I get it, but that one most people did not like though. Most people thought it was very disappointing and underwhelming, especially with it being the final chapter in the franchise, at least for now.
Well, yeah. Until the inevitable reboot, and
yeah, exactly.
Until the inevitable reboot, where they say, "Oh, Michael Myers didn't. No, nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's back.
Yeah.
He's fine." Yeah, I can see Halloween Ends was going to be my worst movie of the year.
Was it really? Wow.
It was because of how disappointing it was. Now, Don't get me wrong. It's like if I really had to think about it, like if I had, after editing my list, I could have put Don't Worry, Darling above Halloween Ends, but I had higher hopes for Halloween Ends.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make it worse when you thought it would be better than it was. I agree.
But yeah, because there are other horror movies here. We could go through a few more. There was one back on Netflix called Choose or Die.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a choose your own adventure thing. I mean, not an interactive one, because Netflix didn't want to be smart, and that movie didn't want to be smart, and they used Freddy Krueger, a.k.a. Robert Englund, on a tape, because that's how old it was. It was like an old tape, cassette tape. But other ones, they had Sissy. It was a French... No, Sissy was the Australian one, about bullying, and that was pretty good. VHS 99 wasn't very good. That was Anthology. Have you ever seen the VHS?
No, but I've heard a lot about them, though. I haven't seen them myself.
Yeah, there was one called Star 69. No, really, that was the actual name of a movie. Where you Star 69 and there's a demonic voice or a ghostly voice telling you something, and they dropped that premise really quickly, and it just became a standard ghost movie. And I think it was made for a budget of about $50 and maybe 3 old cups of Starbucks. I mean, there's other horror. Pray for the Devil was
Yep.
terrible. Absolutely terrible. There was, God, what else was it? The rain was hitting my window. I had to look outside. Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Heard that was awful.
It was filmed during the pandemic, so you can't do everything great, but it's like they didn't even try to make it look like it wasn't filmed on sound stages.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge thumbs down. Then we get to other, stuff here, but I mean, what other stuff did you have on your list as far as horror related or anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, not just horror related, but we already talked about most of them. But not horror related, but thriller related came out last month. The Menu. I mean, you said you were a big Anya Taylor-Joy fan. I assume you saw it, and if you did,
oh hell yeah,
you liked it.
Oh hell yeah! Opening day, I was there. Opening day, I said, "What? Okay, I'm in. Fine, let me watch it."
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I liked the movie. It wasn't one of my favorite films. That's just more of a personal thing, though, as far as, like, it was a great movie. The only reason why it wasn't, like, my top 5 or anything like that was because, I don't know, some parts were, like, it was darker. I thought, like, the ending was interesting. It wasn't a happy ending, which, not every movie needs to be or whatever.
Sure.
I'm more of, like, an entertainment type person, so when you have someone, fucking shoot themselves right in the middle of a restaurant or whatever, I was a little put off by it.
When you get to the part called The Mess, folks, it's like it really kicks into gear.
Yeah, but you listen, I thought it was very well done. It was an interesting concept, and I thought the best part of the movie was her and Richard Kynes, I think his name is, the main chef or whatever. I thought they did a fantastic job.
Rafe Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes, is that his name?
Rafe, yeah. It's actually spelled Ralph, but it's actually Rafe.
Oh, I thought it was Richard Kynes. Okay, close enough.
Honestly, I don't blame you one bit. No, he was great. He was great. Anya Taylor-Joy is great. That one gets a recommendation.
For sure. I agree.
I got a few more. Tar had Cate Blanchett in it.
Yes, I heard that was supposed to be good, and I think I saw that you liked it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, and I watched it when it came out in the theaters. And I think there was like one elderly couple, and I think they fell asleep during it.
Yeah, it just didn't get a lot of buzz. I mean, I heard it was supposed to be good, but it just didn't get a lot of great marketing campaign. I don't know, but it just didn't get a lot of buzz at all. I honestly thought it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, it was out it was out in such minuscule fashion. It got advertising, easy for me to say, but it also didn't do. It wasn't going to make it down at the box office. Cate Blanchett was incredible, and it wasn't based on anything real, but they made it seem like it was. Mm-hmm. And they let you decide how to feel about this character and the other characters around, and that's what was great about it. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, another one from A24, mm-hmm. about a little it was like an animated shell that lost its family and wanted to get reunited with its family. No, really, this is a movie, folks, that exists. It was good.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I thought you were going to say it was shit. Interesting.
Yeah. I saw it's based on a short film that the guy did like a number of years ago, the director. And one that I referenced earlier with Batman was the Banshees of Inisherin that had Colin Farrell in it.
Yeah.
And it was one of my favorite films of the year. Not as high as some people might have thought, but it was up there. Mm-hmm. But then I just watched a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. I
watched one about a killer killing. It was called The Killing Tree. It was about a murderous Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. No, really, folks, that exists. Mandrake, Wendell and Wild, from the guy that did Coraline. Did you see that?
I saw Coraline. Yeah, I saw that when I was a kid. Yeah. I didn't see the new one though. I didn't see the new one. What you're talking about?
God. Coraline was terrifying.
It really was scary. It was honestly pretty. Even now, it's definitely unsettling.
I'm like watching. Like, how is this marketed to kids?
I know. Yeah. I mean, have you heard this story? I only heard this recently. That, oh my God, no. What's his name? Who made the movie? I'm forgetting now.
Henry Selick.
But who's the other?
Jordan Peele helped make Wendell and Wild. Tim Burton helped produce it.
Maybe that's
helped produce Nightmare Before Christmas, but Henry Selick directed it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of Tim Burton. I had heard a story just recently that he actually showed the movie to his kid or his daughter to make sure it was a kid's movie, and if it was too scary, then he wouldn't have gone further with it. And she said that she liked it because she didn't want. I guess she wanted to make her father happy, so she was scared, but she lied and said she liked it. and they ended up doing the movie. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense. The fact that Tim Burton reproduced also, the amount of hair that came out from that kid must have been incredible.
Yeah.
I got one. Bones and All.
Bones and All.
It was about people that, it was a love story about cannibals.
That's a new one. That's a first.
Yeah, I didn't actually, I could tell by the trailer what it was about. It had Mark Rylance in it as a very creepy guy. He was also in the outfit, but it was from the people, or the same guy that directed the Suspiria remake.
Yeah.
They came out in 2018. It had the main woman that was the young, well, I say young, I think she's almost 30, but she was the black, the African-American woman she was in Waves, which is my favorite movie of 2019. Mm-hmm. She was the lead in there. She was incredible. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really good. It was creepy. It was a little long in the tooth, ironic for a movie about cannibals, but it also, it was really well done, actually. That was one of the last really good ones I saw this year. Did you see Troll? It was on Netflix.
Is that an animated movie or is that a real movie?
No, that's actually just a big budget King Kong-ish like movie.
No, I didn't see that. No, I didn't even hear of it.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good for what it was. Enola Holmes 2. That was the sequel to, wait for it, folks, Enola Holmes. Mm-hmm. That had Millie Bobby Brown, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's from Stranger Things, yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, still haven't watched.
Yeah. Neither have I.
What do you think of Violent Night?
Listen, I'm curious what your take is. I fucking loved it. I don't know if you saw Nobody that came out last year.
I did not, actually.
I'm curious what your take would be on that, because I really like that one, too. I mean, I like Bullet Train, and you said you didn't like Bullet Train, so I am curious to see what your view on that movie is, too. I actually really liked Violent Night. What did you think about it?
Oh, I loved it.
You loved it. Well, for me, again, you saw way more movies than I did. For me, this was my top 3-4 movies of the year. I just thought it was fucking great. It was like a modern day version of Die Hard to me, in similar ways, and not exactly similar in others. But no, I absolutely love Violent Night, though.
I loved. I just looked up Beverly D'Angelo was just this drunk mother that just did not give a fuck. She was just the grandmother. She just didn't give a fuck.
Wait a second. Is that the mother from
Beverly
Christmas
D'Angelo
Vacation?
From Christmas Vacation.
No shit.
Yep.
Dude, Now that you say that, I'm kind of watching the movie thinking, why does that woman look familiar? The name didn't strike with me until you just mentioned the name. I'm like, why does Beverly D'Angelo sound familiar? And I'm like, wait, that's the woman from Christmas Vacation, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. That's crazy.
Yeah. And the funniest thing is like, it was one of those that was just fucking great. I thought she was great in it. I thought, she was. And at first, I heard the voice. I go, "There's no fucking way that's her."
Yeah.
No, I recognized her right away. No, I love Violent Night. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought my only complaint is I think it was maybe 10 to 15 minutes too long. I think they could have cut a few things.
Especially early on. Yeah,
enjoyable. Absolutely, it was fucking great.
Yeah, really liked that. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, it was like one of those killing Santa type movies. Like, okay, how good is this actually going to be? The kills were great. That final kill of the main bad guy, without giving anything away for those who haven't seen it, was fucking awesome. That was really clever. Man, it was really good. I just wish more people saw it. Or I know it's on VOD now. People can rent it and shit. I know the holidays are over, but no.
It still made money. I mean, it didn't cost that much. You can tell.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It's like because I saw it. Yeah, I saw it in theaters, and it was during a really cold night right before we got hit with snow. Which now it's after having, this is literally the weather report we had, guys. We started getting snow like last Monday, and it froze and was cold as hell till like Friday morning, afternoon. Still wasn't great, and now we are having near 60-degree weather and like 5 inches of rain over the past
Holy shit.
days. Yeah, everything's flooding. Lovely. But no, I love Violent Night. I thought it was great.
Love
John
that movie.
Leguizamo I always attribute to being a human rat, but I just mean how he looks. But he was pretty good in it. There was one that I watched on Netflix called My Best Friend's Exorcism. It was good.
Interesting. That was good, you say? Okay.
I mean, for what it was. I mean,
Yeah.
It was something from the 80s. Del Toro's Pinocchio, that was one of the most recent ones I watched. That was great.
I'm sorry. Maybe that's what I was thinking, because I had seen someone's best movies of the year to check out on streaming. I had seen Pinocchio and saw Del Toro. I thought that's what you were talking about earlier, the Disney one. So that's the one. Okay, that's the good one to watch. Where was that? On Netflix?
Netflix.
Okay, cool.
Netflix.
All right.
I still haven't watched a series that he did, where he helped produce Cabinet of Curiosities. It was like the anthology type thing,
Oh,
or
all right,
like
yeah.
a series of short horror movies. But if you put Del Toro's name on the tin, I'm almost guaranteed to watch it, because he was great. I mean, he's great. He understands horror. I mean, I have to have the subtitles on for his interviews because he's Spanish. That's not his fault. It's just I don't speak the language he speaks.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. It was very dark. It told a lot of the story about how Geppetto became how he was, how Pinocchio came to be, good stop motion CGI stuff. There was another one, another violent Christmas movie called Christmas Bloody Christmas about a robot Santa Claus. It's on Shudder. That was not good.
It sounds like it's not good.
Well, if you saw the trailer, it looked like it might be some bloody fun, and it was just people swearing, and I don't mind swearing. Swear all you fucking want, but the whole point, it was, for a movie about a robot Santa Claus, it didn't have a lot of stuff about robot Santa, and by the time they showed it, you just kept thinking of the robot killer Santa Claus song from Futurama that was infinitely more entertaining. After that, the only real bad things I saw, I watched Bros, that comedy that got a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ one where Billy Eichner, I think is his name, went on a frickin' rant about people not going to watch it opening weekend.
And you said it was terrible.
It was terrible. It was an abysmal movie. I mean, but it's just... I like the fact there's more LGBTQ representation. That's great. Yes, there are bigots out there, and the bigots can frickin' rot for all I care. And yeah, they probably were going to not go to the movie. They probably weren't going to do this. But here's the thing. It had a viral marketing campaign, and going off on people who may have lives, not going opening weekend, yeah, turn off your audience, bud. That's a great idea. I mean, it's just
very dumb. Yeah, it's just marketing suicide right there. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, well, the movie only cost like $22 to $25 million anyway. So I'm like, okay, if it doesn't quite make that, it'll make it back on streaming through rights fees.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was one other. It was a small independent movie that I want to give a shout to. Our Trip to Berrybrook, Berry with an I. It was 3 people in Australia trying to discover why murders in these woods were taking place, and without giving it away, it was found footage. It was not wholly original, but it was fun. You could tell that the cast had fun in it. Somehow, despite the fact that I reviewed it, one of the cast members reached out to me and gave me a comment on the review, and I'm like, what? I looked at that, I go, huh.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
I guess
awesome.
they were surprised somebody reviewed it. I mean, because it just got shoved on Tubi.
But still, the fact that they watched your review and sent you a comment about it is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was certainly surprised by it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Glass Onion and Knives Out gets a huge recommendation.
Loved it. Glad you liked it. Listen, it came out in theaters briefly last month, and I saw the first one in theaters, and I'm glad I did see this one in theaters, too, while it was out. It was out for like 3 days. It came out the day before Thanksgiving, and it wrapped up on Sunday. I've never seen that before, where something was out in theaters for a week and then hit streaming like a month later. I'm so glad they did that. I see everyone talking about it on the timeline now, coming out of Christmas. And, I fucking loved it. I loved it as much as the first one. The first one I could see being better. Doesn't matter to me. Great movie. Everyone did a great job. Great twists. Great flashbacks. I hope they make more of these and they're as good. Because when you hear something's exclusive to not Peacock, Netflix, you get a little bit worried. I'm thinking, why wouldn't this just come out in theaters? And no, absolutely loved it. And I'm glad, because listen, when I knew you said you were going to review it, I saw your tweet. And I'm like, oh man, I really hope he likes this. And you did, so I was happy.
Well, for me, and I mean, what you were saying, yeah, and I think it's a huge recommendation, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It was as good as the first in different ways. The first one was centered around the family and centered around the house. Again, you had Ana de Armas, shut up, take my time. I will absolutely watch anything she's in.
Yeah.
Almost. I haven't watched Blonde because I don't really want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie Lee Curtis was great in it. So many other people were so great in it. But they made it where Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig's character was this great detective, but then he was a fish out of water, so to speak, in this one. Dave Bautista was great,
mm-hmm.
In this one. Edward Norton, who has had quite the interesting career since Primal Fear, his breakout role. He, Fight Club, one of my favorite movies of the last 25 years. He was great in that. Kate Hudson, who I'm not the biggest fan of. I like Jessica Henwick, who was her assistant. Mm-hmm. She was in the Matrix, the fourth Matrix movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see it.
She was Bugs, I think was the character.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I can understand why some people might not like it, like the first one. That's fine. Go ahead. Be wrong. No, I'm kidding.
I agree.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was and thought it was very entertaining. The only other really good one that I watched, recently was The Fabelmans.
Yeah, that was another one on my list. I know that it was expected to win a lot of awards because I heard it was going to be really good, but you liked it.
It was fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It was Paul Dano was great in it. Michelle Williams, who for Dawson's Creek fans, yes, who I don't remember the character's name right now, but she was in Dawson's Creek, and she was fantastic in it.
Mm-hmm.
The kid that played Sammy, it was the Steven Spielberg unofficial biopic. People are lying if they say it wasn't, because come on,
yeah.
It was. But no, it was great. Great acting. Paul Dano was great as a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Judd Hirsch was only in it for a few minutes, but he stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I watched a couple other movies. I watched Strange World. I finished up with The Eternal Daughter. If I hadn't retro-reviewed so many other movies, I did the entire Final Destination, Urban Legend, and I Know What You Did Last Summer series in the summer. Broke them down individually. But yeah, as far as movies this year, yeah, there were ones I didn't watch. I didn't get a chance to see The Whale. I didn't get a chance to see some others. But 200 movies.
You going to leave it at an even 200, or are you going to go over that?
Yeah, I have no reason to watch anymore.
Hey, listen, that gives you a good 4 days off from watching movies. So that's good. You start up strong in January 1st, 2023.
Well, I already have tickets for Megan and Knock at the Cabin.
Wait, when does Knock at the Cabin Door come out?
February 3rd.
Oh, okay.
I have one for the 2nd. I have one for February 2nd. As long as it doesn't snow a ton in February like it usually does, then I'll be going to, I think it's a 5 o'clock show or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, if M. Night Shyamalan can make a return to form, great. But, you think about February or January, you got Megan coming out, which...
We'll see.
It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be either really bad that it's entertaining or just surprisingly good. So I might possibly go see that. I also know they're coming out, which maybe you feel differently. I just think this is too ridiculous, and it's just off-putting for me. But that Cocaine Bear movie just looks so fucking
Oh,
dumb.
I'm absolutely watching it. I'm game. Just shut up and take my money. I don't care. That's the last movie Ray Liotta was in.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Graham, it's a movie called Cocaine Bear. I don't expect it to be anything.
I need you to see it and need you to tell me how it is, because if it's good, then I might go see it. But I don't know.
But as far as favorites, if you had to come up with a top 5, if you had to come up with 5 movies to define 2022 for the best, what would you say? Just in your opinion.
Yeah, for the movies I've seen, like I said, I can't include Top Gun Maverick, which I know would be on a lot of people's lists because I haven't seen it. For the movies that I've seen, probably in this order, and it might sound completely ridiculous, but 5, I saw Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, thought it was phenomenal. That would be my 5. 4 was Violent Night for me. 3 was Glass Onion. I really, 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 really like that one. 2, I know you didn't like it. Bullet Train was my favorite movie of the year up until yesterday when I saw The Whale. I loved it. Loved The Whale. I would love to hear your 2 cents after you see it, John. You need to let me know what you think. But I love Brendan Fraser. He was great in the role. I know it got some backlash the movie did for a number of reasons, but I fucking loved it. And that was my favorite movie of the year, honestly. And I just saw it yesterday, so it closed out the year on a great note.
Well, yeah, and see, the thing is like, for me, the only reason I didn't watch The Whale is, A, I got so much work I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And because of where it was playing, it wasn't playing anywhere, like, close. And I'm
yeah,
thinking,
it was very limited. I don't know why. It's weird.
Well, for us, the way we're staggered, let me just give you an idea of Washington. Once you get past my theater and you go north, you would have to go all the way to a city called Stanwood, a.k.a. a town, for like a 5-plex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the next theater is. You could then go to a town called Burlington that has a 12-screen plex, but that's 30 miles away. You could go over on the islands where there's two 3-screen plexes, one in one city called Anacortes and then one in one called Oak Harbor. And then you go up to Bellingham where there's a 16-screen plex, but that's 20 miles from the Canadian border. Mm-hmm. So unless it's in town or at least close, I'm not going to go because it takes you 50 minutes to go 20 miles sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's too much.
But yeah, I mean, when The Whale hits any streaming, I mean, if it's $20, I'll absolutely buy, rent it and watch it because what's money. But what you were saying, and I'll go to my best, and then we'll go to worst if you want.
Sure.
My best 5, and I mean, I could go through all this stuff, but I mean, check out the full video.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you listen to this.
Yeah.
But I'll do top 6. I gotta shout Belle out real quick. I gotta shout Belle out. That's really there. That just misses the top 5. 5, Pearl. 4, Top Gun Maverick. 3, RRR. 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
And 1, Nope.
Well, your favorite movie of the year. Nice.
It was that or Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay, I have to make it a point to watch it now. I mean, I was going to watch all the ones you mentioned, but specifically Everything Everywhere All at Once, though.
It's worth it. It's wild. It's different.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say it's absolutely worth seeing. But you go ahead and mention them.
For my worst, I mean, like I said earlier, I enjoyed pretty much most movies I saw this year. Of all the ones I saw, those would be. I enjoyed most of them. The ones I didn't really like I said, I struggled to come up with an answer when you asked me for hashtag recently, but the only 2 ones I didn't really like were Scream, just because I just didn't like it, and then Morbius was so bad that it was funny. So, I mean, it was entertaining in a way, but even that was a bad movie. So if we're talking bad movies, for me anyway, those would be the top 2. I didn't see I didn't see any of the other ones. I don't know. I feel like because I kind of go off. I'm a big review person. Like, for example, if I see something that you like, John, I'll probably go see it. If there's something you don't like, I might not go see it. So you're one of the people that I use as an indicator. So a lot of the movies that you said were bad, I just didn't waste my time with it. So I never had a chance to see it. But I only came up with 2 because the rest of them I thought were either decently entertaining, good, great, or amazing. So those were my worst, I guess.
Well, I mean, and one that I did not get that I totally skipped over. Because again, 200 movies, folks.
A lot of movies.
The Munsters was terrible.
The Munsters or Monsters?
Munsters.
The Munsters.
Based on the show, The Munsters.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
That Rob Zombie directed.
Oh, my God.
I would like to say that Rob Zombie actually is a talented filmmaker. He's not a bad filmmaker, but he gets he's on my shit list like it matters because I'm just a person for putting a stupid wife in movies. Mm-hmm. She can't act for goddamn shit. It's Jesus Christ. It's like if they try to... No, that's unfair. I mean, I don't know what... I'll quote another famous podcaster. I don't know what they got for putting a live microphone in front of her, but it should have been 3 to 5 years. But did you see the Rob Zombie Halloween movies?
No, I've heard a lot about him. Haven't seen it, though. Haven't seen those.
She was in those. But that's number 7. That's how bad this year was.
Yeah.
That's only number 7, and I hate that. The Bubble, I gotta say again, terrible. Bad waste of everybody. You made me hate a movie with Karen Gillan in it. How dare you?
I know. I love Karen Gillan, yeah.
Yeah, I love her for obvious reasons, too. But, I mean, she's also funny. She was in Oculus, which I didn't care for. But she was good. Number 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix version. As
Awful.
opposed to the 1974 version, it wouldn't qualify.
Yeah.
Don't Worry, Darling at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You made me not want to see Florence Pugh in a movie. And Olivia Wilde deserves scorn.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll watch any movie she's in. Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, number 3. Halloween Ends, number 2.
Yep.
Terrifier 2, number 1.
Wow. Worst movie of the year, Terrifier 2. That says a lot. Of all the movies you've seen, that's the worst. So that really is a lot. Does say a lot. That's crazy.
Considering the fact that some of these movies, like, Deep Water and Chippendale Rescue Rangers and Firestarter, which I hated, was way down the list. And even Spirit Halloween was only number 10.
Yeah.
And it was the only reason it got on the worst list is I'm like, how is this getting a theatrical release and how was this made?
Yeah. How was money spent on this piece of shit? I'm sorry. I'll add one more to my list that I forgot to mention. Yep. I told you 2. I think even worse than those easily was not. I was thinking of like movies I saw theatrically. They/Them was probably one for me of the movies I saw. That was fucking awful, and it started out decently enough, and then there was it just was terrible. So that was probably my least favorite movie of the year. I'll put it that way.
And here's the thing: originally that was going to be on the list, and I'm like, because it was terrible. It had a great idea. Oh, okay, LGBTQ influence. Somebody's targeting them, and somebody's doing, and then people are like, "Oh, it's this big mystery. It's this big reveal." It isn't shocking, guys.
No, it's not. It's a stupid
reason. Anybody with a brain would have been
yeah.
able to figure it out.
Yeah, it was very dumb.
Terrible.
Very dumb.
Terrible.
Oh my God. Don't waste your time with that one. But check out all the other ones that we did mention. John, one more time, where can people check out your video with the best and worst movies that you saw this year for more in-depth analysis from yourself?
Well, you can check out Real Honesty with Jonn Ritland on YouTube. You can check out my Twitter handle, Reborn Again, REBORUNE again. That was easy to say. I tried. Forgive me, folks. It's been a long year. But, yeah, you could go there. You could just click the channel link. Well over 200 movie reviews on the list. On the Real Honest Movie Reviews playlist if you want to hear what I thought about the original Gremlins. But, yeah, any of these movies, all 200 are on that list going way, way back, stuff that I didn't even get a chance to recommend, stuff I totally forgot that I reviewed. And, yeah, that's where you can check me out. I mean, and plenty of stuff. There's still going to be content, plenty of movie reviews next year. I don't think it's going to be 200. Well, actually, I don't know.
It could be. You never know, right?
I'll say that, and then I'll end up doing like 230.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll talk about it. We'll reconvene a year from now, John. I love the idea of breaking down the biggest, best, worst, ugliest movies of the year. I love your analysis. No one knows more about movies than I know than you do. So we definitely have to reconvene at the end of 2023 and do this all over again.
Oh, hell yeah. And I mean, if I end up watching even more, I'll say, yeah, here's a top 30. I had to break it into 2. I'll tell you this. The movies I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of good horror movies. I think one of the biggest ones next year will be that Spider-Man, Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's actually coming out on my birthday, so I'm looking forward to that one, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I mean, I knew that it was coming out at some point, but I was like, that should be big. Yeah, no, I love the idea because it's always great to talk about movies because then you can share the love of movies. You can enjoy it, and you can recognize, hey, it can be fun to disagree on shit.
Exactly, and also share our hatred for certain movies, too. I love to hear about that as well.
Yeah, I've gotten headaches doing that. I might need to reel that back a little bit.
Yeah, might not be healthy, but I love your work, John. Always great having you on. People, like you said, can check out your channel, Real Honesty with Jonn Ritland. I don't say it enough, so people got to check it out. This is always a great time. And making it first, John, I've known you for almost 10 years now. It's great to have a conversation. I mean, I always love talking wrestling, but to have our first movie-centric podcast, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And make sure to check out Graham's stuff. I mean, God forbid, it'll take you 5 years to get through some of the wrestling interviews, but at least check out some of them because, well, you're everywhere, man. You're everywhere doing all your stuff and doing the movie review breakdown and the MCU rewatch or whatever you call it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're on the money. Yeah.
But you're doing that. You're doing all this stuff. You're everywhere. You're doing all this stuff. So, yeah, it was great to actually sit down and talk about this stuff and be like, hey, it's been a pretty good year for horror, and I think 2023 could be pretty good, but we'll see.
Exactly. We'll certainly see, yeah.
Some of these studios need to reel back on how much money they spend, like Babylon. Babylon shouldn't have to make $250 million.
Avatar, same thing. I didn't mention Avatar. I haven't seen it. I know you didn't either, so I can't comment on that.
Fern Gully, Dances with Wolves, and the Smurfs did it better.
That's the best way to put it, right?
That's all I got to say.
Perfect. Well, when Cocaine Bear comes out, you got to let me know how it is so I can go see it or not go see it, okay?
Ah, yes, the Tony Khan mascot biopic.
I love it. That's a great note to end on. Thanks, John, for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Great talking with you.
Absolutely, Graham. You take care, okay?
You too, man. Have a happy New Year. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
See you, dude. Bye.